Hello guys and girls, and welcome to today's video. As you can see here on the screen, our topic today is introduction paragraphs, and I want you to notice that this actually says review. Just like we've been doing all week, we are going to be focusing on reviewing for the next several Fridays the different parts of an on-demand essay, and today we are starting with the introduction paragraph. Now, some of you might be thinking to yourself, seriously, Miss Dangerfield, we have written 8,000 introduction paragraphs this year. I've got it. I'm good. But on the other hand, I also have some friends who might be thinking, I'm really not 100% on my introduction paragraphs. And the truth is, if you can't write a good introduction paragraph, then the rest of your essay is going to suffer. So, doesn't matter if you feel like you are a pro or if you're still working on figuring out how to write an introduction paragraph. This is going to be a great review for you. So today we're going to go through these slides together. We're going to look at the different parts of an introduction paragraph. We're going to talk about an example of an introduction paragraph. And then when you get done with this Edpuzzle today, you are going to be writing your own introduction paragraph. So regardless of where you feel like you're at with your ability to write this paragraph of your on-demand essay, this lesson is going to be beneficial for you, and we're going to be applying it at the end of class today when you write your own introduction paragraph. So make sure you are staying engaged and following along as we go through this lesson today. Let's start by talking about what exactly is supposed to go in an introduction paragraph. Hopefully this looks familiar to you. At the beginning of the school year, when we first started talking about on-demand writing, I told you all that if your introduction paragraph were a shape, the shape that it would be is an upside down triangle. At the beginning of the introduction, or this long part of the upside down triangle, we start with the hook, and we're going to talk more in detail about what that hook or what those hooks could look like here in just a moment. Then as our triangle starts to get down to its point, things are getting more specific and more narrow. We have our background knowledge, and then at the end of the introduction paragraph, we have our thesis statement. So let's dive in and talk about what each parts of these introduction paragraph actually look like. If you were to go fishing, one of the key tools that you are going to need is a hook, right? If you go fishing and you don't have a hook, you're probably not going to be very successful. Same thing when you are writing an on-demand essay. Your hook is the very first thing that your audience is going to read, and just like you use a hook to catch a fish, you use your hook in your writing to catch your reader's attention. We've talked about a couple of different types of hooks this year. My personal favorite is to start by asking a question that's related to the topic in some way. I just personally feel like that's the easiest type of hook that you can use. But you could also find an interesting fact. Remember, you can't make facts up. So if you're going to use an interesting fact or a statistic as your hook, that's going to need to come from whatever your provided passage is for the prompt that you are given. You can also start with a really short story. Just keep in mind, if you're going to use the short story hook, the most it needs to be is 2 or 3 sentences. So when I say short story, I mean it has to be a very short, quick, and relatable story to whatever the topic is that you're going to be writing about. After your hook, we have the background information. Just from what I've seen so far this year, I think this is the section of the introduction that we tend to struggle with the most. In the background information, we are going to write 3 to 5 sentences. And the job of the background is to let whoever is reading your paper know, number one, what you are writing about. So what is the topic that is being debated? And number two, what do those who are in favor of that topic believe? What are their opinions? And then last, what do those who are against that topic believe? Okay, so again, what's the debate? What do those who are in favor of the debate think? And then what do those who are against the debate think? After your background information, you are going to dive into your thesis statement. This is something else that we've spent a lot of time on this year. Remember, the thesis statement is like the foundation of your house. If you build a house and that house has a weak foundation, if there is a crack in the foundation, eventually that house is going to crumble. It's the same thing with your on-demands. Your thesis statement is the foundation of your paper. If you have a strong thesis statement, you're going to have a strong paper. And if you have a weak thesis statement, then your paper is going to fall apart. So remember, the thesis statement is the last sentence of the introduction paragraph. It lets the audience know what the topic of the essay is, and then the 2 points that you are going to make about that topic. And again, in just a moment, we're going to look at an example of that. For our examples today, we're going to think about the prompt that is here on the screen. So I'm going to read this to you, and I would like you to just follow along with me. Many people think that students are not learning enough in school. They want to shorten most school vacations and make students spend more of the year in school. Other people think that lengthening the school year and shortening vacations is a bad idea because students use their vacations to learn important things outside of school. What is your opinion? Write a letter to your school board either in favor of or against lengthening the school year. Give specific reasons to support your opinion that will convince the school board to agree with you. We're going to take this prompt and we're going to look at an example introduction paragraph piece by piece that would go with this prompt. Remember, you always start your introduction paragraph with a hook. Just as a quick refresher, that could be a question, it could be an interesting fact, or it could be a short story. Again, I've already said this once, feel like questions are the easiest types of hook to use, so that might look something like this. Should students spend more time in the classroom? So I took what the prompt was about and I turned it into a question. And by doing this, I'm giving my audience something to think about as they begin reading my essay. After your hook, you're going to get into your background information. I have color-coded the different parts here. Remember, with your background information, you always want to start by stating what is the debate. So some people believe students are not learning enough in school. So when I use the word debate, essentially what I'm saying is, what is the argument? What are people having an issue with? Again, some people think that students are not learning enough in school. That's the debate. What do those in favor argue? Well, some say that the school year should be longer so students can learn more in each of their classes. So those who are in favor of lengthening the school year say that it's a good idea because students can learn more. And then I'm going to end my background information with what those against argue. I have it highlighted in blue. On the other hand, others argue making the school year longer is actually a bad idea. They feel students have many valuable learning experiences outside of the classroom. I want you guys to notice that I actually have 4 sentences here. What is the debate is a sentence. Those in favor is a sentence, and those against is 2 sentences. And I just want to remind you that the background information is the biggest part of your introduction paragraph. It should be somewhere in the ballpark of 3 to 5 sentences. And if you answer these 3 questions, you are going to hit that very easily. Now we've got the thesis statement. Remember, the thesis statement is the last sentence of the introduction paragraph. You start by restating the question and you're going to insert your opinion. So on the previous slide, we talked about how the debate is whether or not the school year should be shortened. So I put LaRue County Schools should not lengthen the school year because, and then I'm going to give my 2 reasons why I think that the school year should not be lengthened. I said students need to time away from school to spend with their friends, so there's my first reason. And teachers deserve a break from the responsibilities in the classroom. Just a friendly reminder with your thesis statement, you should not have any personal pronouns. So your thesis statement should not say, I think LaRue County Schools should not lengthen the school year, or I believe LaRue County Schools should not lengthen the school year. You just restate the question and then you give your 2 reasons why you feel that way. Remember, the number 2 is very important when you are writing your thesis statement. I know we went through that review very quickly. We have done this a lot this year, so hopefully it was enough to jog your memory and you are feeling good about introduction paragraphs. Now that you have finished this Edpuzzle video, you are going to move on to the next part of the assignment today, which is to write your own introduction paragraph. Good luck!